fighting nerds have arrived. UFC 313, the highlight of the card that featured Alex Pereira and Justin Gaethje, was Mauricio Rufy knocking out King Green with a spinning wheel kick. Knockout of the year, 2025. You heard it here first. Hands down, that's a hard knockout to top. UFC 300 in April of 2024, the second Holloway knocked out Gaethje. We knew that was the knockout of the year. That's one of the greatest knockouts we've ever seen in our lives. From a technical standpoint, Rufy's knockout of King Green might be my favorite knockout I've ever seen. I can't stop watching it. Incredible, incredible performance from Rufy. Incredible spinning wheel kick. Technically speaking, phenomenal. Nothing short. Mauricio Rufy is 3-0 in the UFC. He has a win on Dana White Contender Series against Islam Makhachev's top training partner. 4-0 in UFC fights. You include Dana White Contender Series. He has 3 finishes by knockout. He has fights at 170, 165, 2 at 155. He's so dynamic. I don't know if I've ever seen a striker so dynamic. He's unpredictable. It's truly special to watch. And his gym, the Fighting Nerds, have really established themselves as a name in the UFC with their main 4 guys. Caio Bahaio, Gene Silva, Carlos Pratas, Mauricio Rufy. In 2024, they won Gym of the Year, deservingly so. And these guys in the last year have really made a name for themselves. Carlos Pratas, Rookie of the Year 2024. 4-0 in the UFC, 4 finishes. He fights Jeff Neal, UFC 314, on the main card. It's a great fight. Carlos Pratas is a very good striker. Great striker. Jeff Neal is a great striker. These are 2 strikers who are going to go toe-to-toe in the octagon on the UFC 314 main card. That's what fans want to see. Talked about this on my channel already. We would rather see high-level strikers, high-level kickboxing than grappling. Most fans would rather see that. I am one of them. I also respect the grappling portion of the game. Not everyone does, unfortunately. But Pratis and Neal, it's an awesome fight for UFC 314. Carlos Pratis has a chance to enter the top 10 in the welterweight division. Jeff Neal's ranked 10. I believe Pratis is 13. He just got in the UFC not that long ago. He's already going to be a top 10 in his division. Gene Silva, the Fighting Nerds. He's going to be ranked if he beats Bryce Mitchell. And that's a hell of a fight. Bryce Mitchell is one of the most disliked people in all of MMA. There's nobody I dislike more than Bryce Mitchell in MMA right now. Gene Silva getting the opportunity to fight him, stealing the show at that press conference at UFC 314. It's quite special. That's a big moment for Gene Silva, an unranked fighter. He got a lot of attention, a lot of eyes on him at UFC 314. And the Fighting Nerds having 2 guys on that UFC 314 main card is a huge deal for them. They just had someone on the UFC 313 main card who delivered being on that main card. Boy, did he deliver. Biggest stage of his career. And he shined brighter than Justin Gaethje. Your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. The man's nickname's the highlight. Mauricio Rufy had the highlight of the night. UFC 314? Are the Fighting Nerds going to steal the show again? They very well could. That's a big card. This is a deep card. Patty Pimblett, Michael Chandler, Diego Lopez, Alexander Volkanovski. There's two Fighting Nerds on the card. I don't know who's going to win Performance of the Night. I don't know who's going to be the hero of that card. I really don't. Could be anyone on that card. It could be both Fighting Nerds. We haven't even talked about Caio Bahaio. He's the head of the pack, number six ranked middleweight. He's the closest to fighting for a title. He is the most well-rounded of the four. And I talked about on my channel how these well-rounded fighters are the guys winning titles right now. These guys who are well-rounded, can mix it up, and have high fight IQ. That's Caio Bahaio. He's got a tough division. He's got DDP in that division. He's got Strickland in that division. Nasruddin Imavov, Kazmat Chimaev. Caio Bahaio is trained with Kazmat Chimaev. He knows what Kazmat Chimaev is going to do. He knows his system. He is as dangerous as anyone in the middleweight division because he knows the system of the boogeyman. No one else does as well as him. No one else has the fight IQ of Caio Bahaio in the middleweight division. He could win that title. Checked about how Mauricio Rufy may be the most dynamic striker I've ever seen, reminiscent of Conor McGregor. Caio Bahaio said that he is the most talented mixed martial artist he has ever seen. That's quite the compliment. Gene Silva has wins weeks apart from each other in two different weight classes, two knockout victories. I mean, he just fought in February. He's going to fight Bryce Mitchell in April. The activity that these guys have is what stands out. Mauricio Rufy has called the UFC and said, if Pimblett and Chandler falls apart, he wants to step in as the backup fighter. He wants to fight. He'd fight either of them. He did the same thing when Dan Hooker pulled out of the fight due to injury with Justin Gaethje. Mauricio Rufy is active. He wants to fight anyone, anytime, anywhere. That's what made Diego Lopez so big in 2024, because he proved that with the Dan Ige fight. Two different opponents, 3 hours, three different weight cuts in 24 hours. Diego Lopez is a BMF, and that's what we want from our fighters. That's who we become fans of. That's who we want to be the stars of the UFC. And the UFC having the star problem, the fighting nerds will be superstars, especially if they keep winning. They're all great strikers. They're all dynamic. They all have big personalities. They're active, and they want to fight anyone, anytime, anywhere. This is the next generation. These guys are unbelievable. They're fun, and they're what MMA needs right now. The UFC needs the fighting nerds. Fighters need the UFC, but the UFC needs the fighting nerds just as much. They're arriving at the perfect time. Let me know what you guys think of the fighting nerds in the comments below. I want to know who your favorite fighting nerd is, who you think will be the next champion, who will be the first champion, who you think will have the most successful career. I personally think the next champion will be Caio Bahaio. I think he will be the middleweight champion. I think who will have the best career be Mauricio Rufy. I want to hear what you guys think. The comments below. I know people who watch this have opinions. Share your opinions. I want to hear everyone's thoughts. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to the Interim Title Show. You can follow us on Instagram at Interim Title Show.